Right, for a start off, check this out. Right.
You know, they were talking about climate change yesterday.
I'm sorry, but I couldn't let it slip. Climate change. Right, okay, right. Yeah, watch this.
And now we're learning that scientists and researchers are looking at how to change the weather on purpose. That's right. Lasers now could one day manipulate rain and lightning. CBS This Morning contributor Michio Kaku is a physics professor at City College of New York. Professor, nice to see you. Extraordinary seeing Al Gore and Bill Clinton there together with Charlie, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, they did not get into this discussion,
No.
though. But it is fascinating. I mean, lasers, really? To change the weather?
That's right. Well, as Mark Twain once famously said, everyone complains about the weather, but no one ever does anything about it. Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. This is potentially a game changer.
But this is experimental.
It's experimental, however, it...
Right, okay. So, this is experimental. Right, now, this has been experimental for a really long time. I have a thing, and I don't read other people's work or watch other people's videos and stuff, because I need to know that where I'm asking, I ask for my information from source. Source gives me the information, and then sometimes there's stuff that corroborates, and literally there's nothing that doesn't corroborate with what they're telling me. I bought a book years ago about harp. HAARP. Harmonic? No, I don't know what it stands for, but I'm pretty sure the P is for project. This is a multi-million-dollar installation in Alaska. And in the book that I read, what, Amy? You want to go in? One sec. Go on then, Ames. Go on. Go on, cat. And basically, in this book, which is at least a decade old, it said that this installation basically was there to study the weather. And how they studied the weather is they projected positive or negative ions into the stratosphere. Might be wrong on that, ain't no physicist. And basically studied what happened to the weather when they did this. They buggered about with the weather. I did a video on it years and years ago. Where it's like, you cannot bugger about with the weather and expect the weather to not be buggered about a bit. So knowing that over all these years, I've never really fallen for the old climate change thing myself. Because it's like you've got people actively controlling the climate. Now, this is a service that they actually sell. Maybe not harp, but like I'm thinking Japan, but again, I may be wrong. I'm not a details person. Recently had an Olympics thing recently within the last decade, had an Olympics thing going on, and a company basically manipulated the weather for that, or they were offering. But basically it's a service. If you're wealthy enough, they will change the weather on your wedding day for you. You can have that. That is a thing that is sold by these uber wealthy people who own these machines. Now, one sec. Donald Trump. Hold on a minute, there's another cat. Who's this one? It's Sirius. Thank you, Sirius. Let me have a bit of peace now then. Right, so, Donald Trump. I was just talking to my daughter about Donald Trump. Now, recently, this week, there's been a lot of people that have posted things of like, oh, like Donald Trump said that denies climate change, and climate change was like, here, hold my pint. Now, these are American people who have been brought up God-fearing, and it's bothered me a tad that none of them are going, vengeful God. You know, like, we're killing people. We're literally performing hostile takeovers of innocent countries. Maybe this is our retribution. Maybe this is our karma. No, it's like, no, climate change. I'm blaming President Trump. And then my daughter reminded me that, of course, Trump turned his back on the climate change accord thing. Is that what it was called? I don't know. But basically, he signed himself out of that. And I think it's these countries, the ones that like own Serco and whatever, which obviously is an American-owned thing, but they need to tie this shit in. And basically, he said, like, nope, not a problem with climate change. I'm on his side on that one. Do you know what I mean? There is the climate change would not do what's happening right now in America. Not in a million years. Well, maybe in a million years, but certainly not in a couple of months since he decided to not sign that agreement. Now, bearing in mind, all of the, you know, like, you could say all the American president, English prime minister, blah, 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 they're all owned by the banks, every single one of us. Now, one other thing my daughter pointed out, who in this world doesn't have a Rothschild-owned bank? North Korea. Hold on a minute. And then, like, Donald Trump's basically playing into the hands of the rich people who are going like, yeah, go on. Ooh, look what he's doing at you. Look what he's doing at you. He's taking a piss. He is. Like, Donald Trump is guilty of little more than being gullible, in my personal opinion. He's so focused on self, on his ego, about how he looks, but he's also incredibly focused on wealth. Nobody can deny that. One of the first things you'll ever find out about him is that he's an incredibly rich man. And it's like, well, imagine then being introduced to the Rothschilds. You can't deny that Trump has changed a lot of his views since he's been president. And it doesn't matter who you are. Once you get president, you get introduced to the people that are actually making your decisions, like in England, where my government, you know what I mean? It is like a big bag of bullshit. So I would not be remotely surprised if this whole weather thing that's happening, that's actually hurting people in America right now, wasn't the powers that be, the powers that would like, the powers that wish they were, their little tactic for basically saying, oh, look, Trump's bad, and he said these bad things. Look at all this shit that's happening now, like God crap. So you can't trust him. Trust everybody who isn't him, and who isn't him, it's the Rothschilds. They're the people that put the show on. They're the people that splash the cash for us to believe what they want us to believe. Don't fall for it. That's my best advice. I'd also like to, one sec, serious, if you wouldn't mind. Oh, right, go on then. Go on then. One sec for mummy, not serious. He gets his own way. I love that kitten. Well, it's a cat now. Listen, big boy. Whoa. I have friends in Florida who are petrified right now, who have literally battened down their hatches and done all that they can. Now, if there is even the remotest possibility that this is happening for corporate gain, so that the Rothschilds can make Trump look like a twat, please just don't fall for it. Please also pray with everything in your heart that these people are safe. Personally, I'm keeping them in like a gold bubble in my head. I imagine like Florida, you know, like a bit like a willy, really. But like big thing that goes down there, it's come up there and it's going up there. And that place there, I've got basically in a mental gold bubble the whole time and imagining the winds just bouncing off. It's all that anybody this far away can do. But if all of us do it, it might just help. Don't think that this is climate change, please. This isn't climate change. This is more likely an agenda. That's the way that most big things happen in this world. If it's not an agenda, the next thing down from that for me is a vengeful God. We've been taking the piss. For decades, for centuries, we have been taking the piss. We've just not bothered to find out what we are. We've just gone, oh, all right then. You say this is what we are. Well, we'll believe you. Why would you steer us wrong? Bollocks. We're better than this. We are more than this, and we can help this world. But this world, as she's clearly stating right now, doesn't want things to happen this way. There is a better way, and it is way more simple than the way that crap is happening at the minute. Please, bother to look. Please.